Per reports, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still desperately trying to trade for a top wide receiver. Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers have lost one of their free agents to a different team. Before I get more into this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you get updated with everything Pittsburgh Steelers news. And also like the video. Let's get right back into it. So, after trading Dante Jackson to the Carolina Panthers weeks back, in a move that acquired cornerback Dante Jackson, that means the Pittsburgh Steelers opened up a sizable hole at the wide receiver position, even though they kind of filled that hole with some signings in free agency like Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins. Apparently, that's not enough, as the Steelers are still looking to make a big move and a big splash at that position. And according to NFL insider Jason LeCaforna of Odyssey, the Steelers are trying to do something at the position via trade before the 2024 NFL Draft kickstarts. Here's his quote about the Steelers potentially trading for a wide receiver. "It would not surprise me if they did that tomorrow, if they did it the Wednesday before the draft, if they did it while they were on the clock, if they did it in the run-up to the draft that Thursday. I know that they're really trying to make something happen there. They've done an incredible job drafting wide receivers, so if they don't get a veteran plug-and-play guy, then yeah." End quote. So, just from reading that quote, just from listening to it, obviously you could tell that he believes the Pittsburgh Steelers are desperately trying to trade for a receiver, and it could happen at any single time, whether that's before the draft or during the draft. They are looking to get a deal done to strike a wide receiver to Pittsburgh. And it makes sense, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been speculated about regarding a potential trade for maybe a receiver like San Francisco 49ers Brandon Ayuk, who is on the line for a new contract as he enters the final year of his rookie contract. And Ayuk, at the beginning of the offseason, raised some eyebrows in March when he tweeted at Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin in the midst of kind of speculation regarding the Steelers as a potential fit for him and his trade market value. But even though he did that, San Francisco GM John Lynch shut down any Ayuk trade rumors during the NFL kind of meetings and owners meetings in Orlando in late March. But as we all know, that's what the owner is supposed to do. Shut down all those rumors and kind of make it more about the team is going to re-sign him, and if they do end up trading him, so be it. But that's what the GM is supposed to do. But even after that owners meeting, Ayuk still raised some speculation on social media as he put something out on IG basically saying that what his GM is saying is not true, and they're not even close to striking a deal on the contract. So obviously there's speculation there. It's been going around about Ayuk. Also, there's been speculation around just signing a wide receiver in free agency. Tyler Boyd has been in the speculation rumors for the whole offseason now. The whole thing was the Pittsburgh Steelers were looking at signing Tyler Boyd, but then reports came out basically saying that the two sides cannot agree on the money terms on the contract and the years, and the Pittsburgh Steelers don't want to raise their offer that they initially offered to Tyler Boyd. So that looks like it's in the past and might not get done unless Tyler Boyd just can't find another team to sign to that wants to pay more money. But that looks like it won't happen. And like I said, the Steelers, they've just been in rumors with every single wide receiver that has come up in this offseason. Even after the Houston Texans traded for wide receiver Stephon Diggs, the whole thing was, hey, maybe the Texans are going to move off of a guy like John Mechie III or Noah Brown, and maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be linked to one of those guys. So whichever wide receiver came up this offseason, after the Steelers traded away Dante Jackson, traded away someone who was a pure route runner and brought that aspect to the team, a number one, number two type of wide receiver, the Steelers have been in the rumors ever since. And it kind of makes sense, because when you think about it, as of right now, they have George Pickens, Kelvin Austin. Those are the only two guys on the team who were basically with the team last season and actually played meaningful snaps. They traded away Dante Jackson, they released Allen Robinson at the start of the offseason, and now they're stuck in a predicament where they really only have George Pickens, who actually has production in this league. Yes, they have Van Jefferson, who they signed, but he was like a fifth or fourth wide receiver on the Atlanta Falcons last season. So do you really want him being your number two, number three wide receiver? Probably not. So right now they have George Pickens, Kelvin Austin, and they really need to get someone else, whether that's via free agency or the draft. But I believe it needs to be both because the Steelers, even if they pick up one wide receiver in the draft, he's still a rookie. You still don't know what he's going to provide. Obviously, if you draft someone highly, which we probably don't want to because there's other positions that need to be filled first before wide receiver, but are you really trying to slot a rookie into the number 2 role, or do you want someone else to do that role, like a veteran or someone that you could rely on right out the gate and who has done it already in this league? So I believe it needs to be both, or two of the three options. Whether you sign someone in free agency and trade for someone, or you trade for someone, draft someone, or draft someone and sign someone. It needs to be two of them because they still have many holes at the wide receiver position, and they at least need 2 more guys to fill those holes that could actually have productive years and not just sign someone like Quez Watkins, who barely ever played last season, or Van Jefferson, who barely ever played, had like 12 receptions the whole year, or even Calvin Austin right now. He barely even played last year. He was more of a punt returner. So 2 people need to be filled, and the Pittsburgh Steelers look like they're in the rumors, per reports, once again. With that being said, many people are going to probably say, then why don't we just keep Dante Jackson on the team? If he was that number 1, number 2 wide receiver and a reliable guy, why did we trade him away and trade for a cornerback in Dante Jackson? Well, Omar Khan kind of explained it, saying that it was a win-win for both teams. The Panthers needed a top wide receiver, they got it, and the Steelers needed one of the top cornerbacks, and they got him. The Steelers have been scouting Dante Jackson for a while now, ever since his college days, even almost traded for him, Dante Jackson said last season or 2 seasons ago. So the Steelers have always been on the Dante Jackson kind of radar, and the Steelers needed a cornerback as well. Just like they need a wide receiver right now, they needed a cornerback. They only had Joey Porter Jr., they cut Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace was a free agent, James Pierre was a free agent, he signed with a different team. They really only had Corey Trice, Rush as the backups. So the Steelers needed a cornerback, and it was a win-win for both teams per Omar Khan. They felt as though they needed a cornerback, probably more than a wide receiver. They traded away Dante Jackson, final year of his contract, probably didn't want to pay him huge money, in which he probably wanted. So they got off of his contract, saved some money this season in terms of not paying him for next year. Yes, Dante Jackson's contract kind of levels it out, but not paying Deontay Johnson's huge contract for next season. Dante Jackson redid his contract to stay with the team. So it was a win-win. Steelers got a top cornerback, traded away wide receiver. It was either the Steelers were going to need to pick a cornerback top or maybe trade for a top cornerback, but now they need a top wide receiver. So it kind of flip-flopped the Steelers' needs this offseason to a point. They still need a cornerback, but now wide receiver might be a higher priority. So that's the reason why they did the Deontay Johnson kind of trade. And because there's always those reports about he's not happy with the team, he's not happy with the locker room, not happy with the quarterback situation, and he may even do a hold-in for a new contract. There's all those reports going around, so they just got off of him, so they didn't have to deal with all that drama like they dealt with 2 years ago when he held out for a contract as well. So, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a wide receiver. But a wide receiver they just lost in free agency was Myles Boykin. So, Pittsburgh Steelers have lost wide receiver Myles Boykin to the New York Giants. As Myles Boykin was 27 years old, he spent the last 2 seasons with the Steelers. In 2023, he appeared in all 17 regular season games and also the playoff game as well. He was dressed as the club's number 5 wide receiver for basically the entire season, but he was used kind of in certain aspects of the passing game. Boykin finished with 3 catches on 4 targets for 17 yards in his 85 offensive snaps. He was used primarily not lined up for a wide receiver role, but mostly to be in the game as a wide receiver, but to run block. So Boykin also saw significant playing time as a special teamer. That was kind of his role, special teams and run blocking. Playing on all 4 phases of special teams, he finished the season with 5 tackles. So the Pittsburgh Steelers lost depth at the wide receiver spot. They didn't lose a top receiver, someone who had huge ability, but they did lose someone who they used primarily in certain roles and a huge big-time special teamer. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're still looking for a wide receiver and apparently are desperately trying to trade for one, and it wouldn't surprise the reporter if they traded for one tomorrow, next week, or even at the draft. Also, the Steelers lose Myles Boykin to the New York Giants. But with that being said, let's end this video. That's a recap of this video. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about the report per the insider. The Steelers want to trade for one. And if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers, which wide receiver would that be that you would trade for? Or do you want them to go through the draft, free agency? Let me know your thoughts on who the Pittsburgh Steelers should get at the wide receiver position. And also let me know your thoughts on Myles Boykin leaving the team and signing with the New York Giants. Do you think that's to affect the team in any way, or do you just believe that it was time to move on? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this topic in general. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss out on anything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, reports, analysis, reactions, film breakdown, highlights, everything like that. The draft is around the corner. I covered all of free agency. I'll continue to do so, just like I'm going to do with the draft coming up as well. Every new player, I'm on it, giving the introductions of who they are, what they're all about, what they could bring to the team. So turn on notifications, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.